Charles Coulomb wanted to measure electrical forces very precisely. So in 1785, he invented this torsion balance. Now you can see that there are these two balls. On these balls, you can place charges, positive charges, let's say. The positive charges are going to push these two balls away. But this ball is fixed in place by a rod. This ball, on the other hand, can move in that direction. As it turns around in that direction, this wire twists and stops it at a point. By measuring how much it has moved, you can figure out what was the electrical forces between these two charges. So using the torsion balance, Coulomb did a lot of different experiments, and he found out that the electrical forces between two charges is directly proportional to the product of charges. F is proportional to Q1 into Q2. The force is also inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. F is proportional to 1 by r square. Because it's inversely proportional to the square of the distance, F is proportional to 1 by r square. Suppose I take both of these facts that Coulomb discovered and I try to combine them together, I can say that F must be proportional to Q1, Q2 by r square. So if I have two charges Q1, Q2 separated by a distance r, then this force that Q1 exerts on Q2 F or Q2 exerts on Q1 F is proportional to Q1, Q2 by r square. When F is proportional to something, what can I say? I can say F is equal to a constant times Q1, Q2 by r square. So that constant we call it K. So F is equal to K times Q1, Q2 by r square. What is K? K is called Coulomb's constant and its value is 9 into 10 to the power of 9 in SI units, Newton meter square by Coulomb square. Okay, so F is K times Q1, Q2 by r square. Now remember, this only we are talking about the magnitude of the force, but Q1 and Q2 could be positive or negative, right? So to actually make it correct, we have to put an absolute value sign because F is only the magnitude of the force. So whether it was a negative charge or a positive charge, we are only going to use the numerical value of the charge there. So F is equal to K Q1, Q2 by r square. Absolute value you must take for the Q1, Q2. Okay, now this K is a good constant that we can use 9 into 10 power 9. But turns out that in many questions, the answer will be in the form of 1 by 4 pi K. To make that easy, we call that a different constant epsilon naught, or K can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So instead of this constant, we are going to deal with that constant more often. Okay, what is epsilon naught? Well, if I take epsilon naught here and K there, epsilon naught will be 1 by 4 pi K. You can calculate its value. It is 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 Coulomb square by Newton meter square. Epsilon naught is called the permittivity of vacuum. Don't worry about the name, just a name. It is called permittivity of vacuum. So often you will see this coming up in the formula. F will be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1, Q2 by r square. But remember, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is a constant. K 9 into 10 to the power of 9. When I'm solving problems, I'll use this constant more often. Okay. Now, if I now look at the force K Q1 Q2 by r square, let us look at the nature of this force. First, this force is only true for point charges. Why? Because notice this r square, this r, is it from this end to that end, or is it from the center to center, or from this end to that end? It doesn't matter because it is point charges. Does that mean that two big objects with charges on them don't attract or repel? Of course they do. Electrical forces act on big objects also. But this formula will not work. This formula only works for point charges. For big objects, we will learn later how to use this formula to calculate. We'll have to do some amount of integration and so on. But at this point, remember that Coulomb's formula or Coulomb's law, this is called Coulomb's law. This is only true for point charges. The second thing you have to remember is that this tells us the magnitude of the force. It tells us the magnitude whether the force is repulsive or attractive. This is the force formula for both cases. The direction of the force is radial. What is radial? Along the line joining the charges. The force has to be this way. It can't be this way. It can't be that way. It can be this way. It can be this way. but it has to be along the line joining the charges. But is it this way or is it this way? To find the exact direction, we have to use the fact that like charges repel and unlike charges attract. So if I have plus and plus, that will be the direction of the force. Minus and minus, again the forces will be like this. But if I have plus and minus, they are going to attract, and so the force will be this way. Remember, always along the line joining, but it could be this way, it could be this way. Using the fact that like and unlike charges, you can figure out whether it's repelling or attracting. You can find the exact direction of the force. Finally, remember that on both charges, the force magnitude is equal. This is also F and that is also F. Suppose I had a different charge here and a different charge, Q1, Q2, right? Minus 2 microcoulomb plus 7 microcoulomb. Very different charges. Does that mean that this plus 7 will have more force? No. Look at the formula, it is Q1 into Q2. If you look at this fellow, you can say 2 into 7 will land up there. If you look at this fellow, you can say 7 into 2 will land up here. So for both, the force magnitude will be the same. Larger charge will not have larger force. Both the charges will have the same magnitude of the force. Direction of the force will of course be opposite. So to understand Coulomb's law and this Coulomb's formula for force, let us look at a few examples. When we have two charges Q1 and Q2 separated by a distance r, the force Q1 exerts on Q2 F and the force Q2 exerts on Q1 F. The magnitude of these forces is given by Coulomb's law, which is F is K times Q1 Q2 by r square. K can be written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So F is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square. What is K? The value of K is 9 into 10 power 9 in SI units. Let us use this formula to calculate what the force will be in different situations. I'm going to first use positive and positive charges. 40 microcoulomb and 50 microcoulomb separated by a distance of 3 meters. Okay, so because they are both positive charges, you know that the forces are going to be like that, repulsive. Okay, how much will be the force? F is KQ1 Q2 by r square. So K is 9 into 10 power 9. Q1 you should not use 40 microcoulomb. You have to use SI values, right? SI units. So 40 into 10 power minus 6. Micro is 10 power minus 6. 40 microcoulomb, 40 into 10 power minus 6. Q1. Q2 is 50 microcoulomb. So 50 into 10 power minus 6. Divided by r square. R is 3 meters. So I'm going to write 3 square. 3 square and 9 will cancel out. 40 into 50 is 2000. 10 power 9, 10 power minus 6. 10 power minus 6, that's going to give us 10 power minus 3. 2000 into 10 power minus 3, that is 2 newtons, right? So F is 2 newtons. So this is 2 newtons, that is 2 newtons. This formula only gives us the magnitude of the force. Okay, now I had positive and positive charge, so the force was repulsive. Suppose I had negative and negative charge, again the force will be repulsive. Let us put some negative charges. Minus 6 microcoulomb, minus 20 microcoulomb separated by a distance of 2 meters. What will be the force now? Well, we can use the same formula. So F is K Q1 Q2 by r square. K is 9 into 10 power 9. Q1 is minus 6 microcoulomb. But why have I only put 6 into 10 power minus 6? Because you only want the magnitude of the charges. You don't have to worry about the minus sign because I'm only finding the force magnitude. So 6 into 10 power minus 6, 20 microcoulomb there, minus 20, but I'm going to write 20 into 10 power minus 6 divided by r square, 2 square. Okay, so if I now calculate this, this is going to cancel, give me 5, 5 into 6 is 30, 30 into 9 is going to give me 270, so 270 into 10 power minus 3, so the answer is going to be 0.27 newtons. So this force is 0.27 newtons, that force is 0.27 newtons. How do I know the direction? Well, it has to be along this line, and because it's minus and minus, it has to be repulsive. So this force has to be like this, and that force has to be like that. Okay, suppose I had one positive and one negative charge. Well, let's say that this was minus 12 microcoulombs, and this was plus 50 microcoulombs separated by a distance of 6 meters. What will be the force now? First of all, minus and plus, so it's going to be an attractive force, right? So the force on Q1 is going to be like this, and on Q2 is going to be like that. How much will be the magnitude? Well, the magnitude of the force will be K, 9 into 10 power 9, into Q1, only the magnitude of the charge. You don't have to worry about the minus sign here. 12 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into 50 into 10 power minus 6 divided by r square, 6 square. You calculate this, turns out to be 0.15 newtons. 0.15 newtons. Suppose I doubled this charge. Suppose I made this minus 24 microcoulomb. What will happen? Well, this is going to become double, but all the rest of it remains the same, right? So my force formula, K is going to be the same. This charge has doubled. This remains the same. This remains the same. So that means my force is also going to double. So it's going to be 0.15 into 2, 0.3 newtons. Okay. Let us now take the same example, but now I'm going to increase the distance. I'm going to make the distance double. So this is minus 24 microcoulomb, that is 50 microcoulomb, that's all the same, but I'm going to make this double, 2 times 6. So this is 12 meters, 12 meters. So what will happen to the force? Will the force become double? No. The force will decrease, right? Because increasing distance, force decreases. Will it become 1 by 2? Will it become half of that? No. Let us see. The force is K Q1 Q2 by R square, K Q1 Q2 by R square. Earlier it was 6 square, now it is 2 times 6, but you're going to square it. So you're going to get 2 square into 6 square. 2 square means 4. The rest of it is exactly the same as that, right? So it's going to be 0.3 by 4. 0.3 by 4. So by doubling the distance, the force has become 1/4, 1 by 2 square. The distance became double, 2 times. The force became 1 by 2 square. So 1/4 of that original force. So it is 0.3 by 4. Okay. So in general, you have to keep in mind that if this force was K Q1 Q2 by R square, and I make the distance, let us say half. Make the distance half. What will happen to the force F dash? Well, F dash is going to be K times Q1 Q2 by R by 2 square. R by 2 square. Because of that square, it's going to become R square by 4. The 4 will come to the numerator, right? When you divide by R square by 4, it's going to be multiplied by 4 by R square. So that means you're going to get a 4 there. So it's going to be 4 times K Q1 Q2 by R square. What is this? This was this force. So it's going to be 4 times F. So if you make the distance half, the force becomes 4 times. If you make the distance double, the force becomes 1/4. Okay, so these are very important points to keep in mind. So I hope you have now understood how to use Coulomb's law in different types of situations.